The first rule of deep space exploration, according to the Kari Diplomatic Codex, was clear. Always announce your peaceful intentions before landing on an inhabited world. The second rule, bring the right gift baskets. But nobody ever wrote a rule for what to do when the planet screams back at you. Commander Urich's pale skin flickered with bioluminescent anxiety, veins pulsing electric blue beneath her flesh. As she adjusted her neural port, the chrome flower blooming unnervingly from her neck. "That's not supposed to happen," she said quietly. "Acoustic waves don't propagate through vacuum." Torvik, the Arvok mercenary captain, growled, his slate-gray face twisted with a rare show of concern. Whatever was down there just punched sound through 300 kilometers of nothing. The coalition vessel Harmonious Intent hung in orbit above Con 6, a moon that looked like every nightmare in the galaxy had been squeezed into a sphere. Crimson fungal blooms spread like blood across continents. Megaforests writhed without pause, and storm systems glowed with bioluminescent lightning. Even from space, the planet felt alive and hostile. Lieutenant May Donovan, the only human on board, pressed replay on the strange sound filling the bridge. She wasn't military, just a contractor, but someone in the Galactic Coalition thought a Terran perspective might help. The sound began low, a rumble that shook bones, then rose into a howl that was almost communication. Commander Urich's secondary eyes dilated as she read the emotional spectrum. "Could be a distress signal," she said. But May felt something deeper, a resonance that bypassed her ears and settled in her gut, as if the moon itself was reaching out through the void to touch them. "Distress signal," my armored ass, Torvik spat. "That's a hunting call. Heard plenty on Golvax Prime, before the swarm mothers ate half my unit." May slowed the sound, running it through every filter. Beneath the primal roar, she thought she heard one word. Just one. Reload. 20 years earlier, Captain Ryan Royce stood in the dropship bay, addressing his Black Ops team with grim cheer. "Welcome to the ass end of nowhere. Charon 6 was a death, world-thin oxygen, unstable gravity, and 17,000 species that hated humans on sight. Their mission was simple: find out if this hellhole could be weaponized." The dropship lurched, emergency lights flickering red. Then the world exploded. Present day, the coalition landing party found the wreckage 3 kilometers from their site. The twisted metal bore desperate crude carving swords that sent a chill down May's spine. "Warge How Lives," written in human script. Then came the jungle's reply. The crimson canopy pulsed in rhythm with a growing thunder of movement, something massive, fast, and angry. 5 figures dropped from above, like falling stars of muscle and rage. 7 feet tall, wrapped in scars and armor cobbled from starship hulls and alien bones. The largest wore a mask welded from metal and breathing tubes. Its roar was a battering ram, knocking soldiers to their knees. Then it spoke. "Long neighborhood tourists." The voice was male, human. May caught a glimpse of its eyes, brown but flickering with faint bioluminescent sparks, like fireflies trapped in amber. "They live here," the masked figure said. "You're the hostile." The battle wasn't a fight. Half the coalition force was down, not dead but brutally educated in the difference between theory and reality. Pressed against a fungal tree smelling of copper and bad decisions, May whispered, "You're human." The figure called Ryan asked, "What makes someone human? Their body, their DNA, or the name on the grave when they leave you to die?" Nearby, Deke loaded his weapon. 30 local packs moving in, probably smelled the blood. Howls answered in the distance, building into a symphony of hunger. Ryan's voice cut through it all. "You run. You run fast. You run hard. And maybe you make it back to your ship. You don't run." He didn't finish. The Warhowl pack vanished like smoke with teeth, leaving behind the confused aliens, one thoughtful human, and a single dog tag. May picked it up with shaking fingers. "Mars D. Corporal. Terran Combat Command. Project Warhowl." Her heart pounded. If Project Warhowl was Relthan, someone on Earth had questions to answer. And those someones would do anything to keep those questions buried. They're savages, Commander Urix insisted, her neuroport flickering with indignation. Whatever they once were, 20 years on that moon stripped them of what? They slammed the dog tag on the table. Their humanity. I've seen the footage. They could have killed everyone. They didn't. Torvik growled. They broke 6 of my ribs. You have 40 ribs. You'll live. May pulled up her datapad. Project Warhowl doesn't exist in any official database. But Ghost Data hints at a Black Ops program gone dark exactly 20 years ago. Deep space combat adaptation. Extreme survival training. The works. The nightmare jungle wasn't just a place to die. It was a crucible where something terrifyingly human was for Jadan still lived. So, Earth abandoned soldiers? Urix's secondary eyes narrowed. That violates 17 treaties. 8 then, Heride corrected. 18 treaties. This is a diplomatic catastrophe waiting to... The lights cut out. Emergency power kicked in moments later, bathing everything in the eerie red glow that meant something had gone terribly wrong. Report. Urix's voice sharpened, reaching those strange Kriari frequencies only her kind could manage. Something's in the vents, security responded. Moving fast, we can't. The comm went dead. May felt her blood turn to ice water. They followed us up. Torvik snarled. But how? The hull is sealed. The vent above him exploded outward. A figure dropped through smaller than Ryan or Deke, wrapped in the hide of something with too many eyes. It landed on Torvik's shoulders, drove something sharp through his armor, then vanished back into the vents before anyone could react. Torvik looked down at the quivering spine stuck in his shoulder. I appeared to be lightly stabbed. Explosions rocked the ship as more vents blew open. The Warhowl pack flowed through the corridors like water finding cracks, striking, vanishing, pushing the crew toward the cargo bay. They're hurting us. Toward the cargo bay, May realized. Urix tried to coordinate security through her neural port, her skin flashing panic colors. That's where I was storing the recovered artifacts, including... May's eyes went wide. Oh no. She ran. The others followed because when the only human on your ship starts running, you don't ask why. They burst into the cargo bay to find Deke crouched over an old military field recorder, his salvage armor catching the red light. He looked up, face marked by scars that told stories nobody wanted to hear, eyes sharp and hunting. But there was more, faint, bioluminescent, veins, pulsed beneath his skin, organic, evolved, wrong in all the wrong ways. Huh? Still works, he said casually. How did you get aboard? The hull's sealed, May demanded. Your hull's got maintenance ports, Deke said, smirking. Big enough for a motivated human who spent 20 years folding himself into uncomfortable places. We latched on during your atmospheric exit. Void swimmers survive short vacuum hops, so can we. Cut through your senses like tissue paper. Your security team needs to think three-dimensional. He hit play on the recorder. The video was grainy but clear enough. A younger Ryan appeared, face whole, eyes sharp with military discipline. Day 15, he said. Dropship static. Comms are static. Paris died from the fungal infection. Local flora doesn't play nice with human lymph nodes. Maybe a week of rations left. Muffled voices, explosions, screaming. The camera fell, showing sideways footage of something with too many legs tearing through their camp. Ryan, covered in green blood, breathing hard. They amended them. Scratch that. A week of rations. Parker's gone. But hey, local wildlife bleeds. That's something. The feed jumped to day 90. A haggard Deke appeared. Fungal spores, like snow in his hair. It's not just in our heads anymore. The storm reacts. Got pissed yesterday, lightning struck the tree a predator stalked me from. Ryan says I'm imagining things, but the forest, it listens. Learns us as much as we learn it. Back in the present, Deke paused the playback. Want to see day 50? That's when we figured out the howling. Day 100's cool too when Ryan decided eating raw megapona hearts might boost our immune systems. He was right. Urix whispered, "You're monsters." No. Ryan dropped from the ceiling with predator grace, his mask off, revealing a face human in shape but carved from harder stuff, half his jaw reinforced with metal. Surgical scars told the story of battlefield medicine with too few supplies. Monsters are born. We were made. He gestured to the screen. Play day 200 Deke. On screen, Ryan was leaner, harder, armor patched with improvised repairs. Personal log, Captain Ryan Royce, Terran Combat Command. If anyone finds this, he laughed bitterly. Who am I kidding? Nobody's looking. Project Command wrote us off the moment we went dark. Probably listed us as equipment lost in a budget report. He held up a piece of comm gear. Got this working for 30 seconds yesterday. Heard civilian channels. Earth still there, still spinning, still not giving a static about 8 soldiers. The device sparked and died. 7 soldiers, he corrected quietly. Martinez didn't make it through the night. The howling got him, not the predators, the planet itself. He looked into the camera. This place gets in your head, makes you choose, adapt or die, evolve or become fertilizer. A pause. We're choosing whatever it takes. However far, we're not dying here. When we get off this rock, when, not if, someone's going to answer. His voice dropped. Dangerous. They threw us away like dogs. Didn't want to feed us anymore. A faint smile. Well, guess what? The dog survived, and we remember who held the leash. Back in the cargo bay, Urix's diplomatic armor cracked. But you didn't get off. You're still here. Are we? Ryan smiled. All teeth. Lady, we own this moon now. We rolled out the howling, tamed the megapona, turned this death trap into our kingdom. Why would we leave? Because you're human, May said softly. And humans don't abandon their own. Silence filled the cargo bay except for the hum of emergency power. Funny thing, Deke said, checking his weapon. We weren't the only ones your government abandoned out here. Found 3 more crash sites over the years, colony ships, research stations, all written off, left to die. We saved who we could, Ryan added. Taught them to howl, to hunt. Built the civilization of the abandoned. He stepped closer to the officials. So tell me, diplomat, who exactly are our own? May's datapad chimed a new message. Priority 1, black site level encryption. She read it twice, feeling her world tilt. You bastards, she breathed. What? Urix demanded. May showed the screen. Official Terran Defense Command letterhead. Orders to quarantine Con 6. Eliminate all witnesses. Project Warhowl never existed. ETA on the sterilization fleet, May asked, voice hollow. 48 hours. Deke and Ryan exchanged looks. Well, Deke said, that's new. No, Ryan answered, a shadow creeping into his voice. That's perfect. You want to what? Urix's voice could have cracked crystal. You heard me. Ryan unrolled a map onto the conference table. Not a digital holo, but a stretched Haida Megapona skin marked with blood, ink, and scars. They'll come from here, he said, pointing. Earth's cleanup crew. The same bastards who left us to rot are coming to finish the job. And they'll take your ship with them, just to tidy up. The Galactic Coalition does not engage in military operations without the appropriate authorization. Your coalition's about to be an anecdote, Deke interrupted, calmly, Field stripping his weapon. Earth's Black Fleet doesn't leave witnesses. You're all loose ends now. Torvik leaned in, shoulder wrapped and ego cracked. Say we believe you. Say this fleet's real. What can 7 feral humans do against warships? Ryan grinned. That grin didn't belong to a human. 7? You poor clueless bastard. You think we're all that's left? He howled. The sound shouldn't have reached past the hull, shouldn't have crossed the vacuum, shouldn't have done any of it. But it did. And the moon howled back. The ship's view screen lit up, now with ship's biological signatures, launching from the surface. Dozens, maybe more, riding creatures that looked like manta rays if nightmares dreamed in wingspan. Every human down there, Deke said, almost cheerful, learned the same lesson we did. Adapt or die. And it turns out, if you feed people's psychic megapona organs for 20 years, you get party tricks. May finished. Like punching sound through vacuum. Like bonding with void swimmers. Ryan tapped the screen. Beautiful things. Eat radiation for breakfast. Vomit stealth tech for fun. Also, apparently they find humans unappetizing. So they kept us instead. This is madness, Yorick said. No, Ryan said again, quiet and final. You've got two options. Sit here and wait for Earth to vaporize, or help us show them that abandoning humans has consequences. Torvik stood, his warrior pride overriding his survival instincts. What do you need? Guns? Deke said without hesitation. The kind that turn Hull into mist. Medical kits. Another Warhowl member added. Dropping from the ceiling like gravity didn't matter. Some of the packs are riding wounded. And comms, Ryan said. Big ones. Strong enough to punch through fleet encryption. Why? May asked. Ryan's eyes went dark. Because when we hit them, I want Earth to hear every second. 36 hours later, war arrived. Space combat, according to textbooks, was math. Vectors, velocities, radiators and reactors. Clean, predictable. Warhowl didn't read textbooks. Contact in T-10, the sensor tech reported. 6 stealth destroyers dropped from FTL. Earth's invisible erasers, oral pack in position. Torvik confirmed, not quite believing he was coordinating an ambush with humans riding void-born monsters. Still think this is suicide. Everything's suicide if you do it wrong. Ryan's voice crackled back. He was out there in a reinforced EVA suit, sitting astride something that pulsed with alien grace and bad ideas. Deke, you in place? Clean shot on the command ship. Just give the word. May watched the tactical display, trying not to think about how nothing in front of her was supposed to be possible. How are you even breathing? Fun fact about hyperoxygenated blood, Ryan said. Holds a charge in vacuum for about an hour. Hurts like hell, but pain's just weakness leaving the body. Right, Parker? Parker is dead, Deke reminded him. Right, then pain's just Parker leaving the body. The Earth fleet held textbook formation. Predictable, clinical, message incoming, Yorick said. They're ordering us to prepare for boarding. And no, Ryan replied. Space folded. The void swimmers move not through space, but around it, geometry bent, angles shouldn't have existed. Then they hit. Warhowl stormed hulls in improvised armor, mag-locked to metal, armed with fusion cutters, plasma blades, and 20 years of rage. The Earth commander's voice snapped over the net. Impossible! There's nothing out here but Corporal Deke Mars, Deke announced, voice clear and cold. Terran Combat Command. Project Warhowl. Day 7,000 and something. Still breathing. Still pissed. His cannon fired. A destroyer's engine core replied by becoming a temporary sun. 20 minutes. 3 ships turned to debris. 2 more venting everything that mattered. 1 trying to flee. Except something very hungry was chewing on its FTL drive. Surrender! A voice cried. We surrender! This is Admiral Haynes. Authorization code. I know who you are. Ryan stood on the bridge now. Security footage showed him bloodied, calm, standing over officers who couldn't even pretend they had control. You signed our deployment orders. Minimal risk. Standard recon. I was following orders. So were we. He grabbed the Admiral by the throat, lifted him. Hyperoxygenated blood did interesting things to strength. Defense is, we got bed-eyed. May worked her console. Footage, audio, data logs, transmission trails, all of it packaged and fired wideband. The entire galaxy would see it. Stop, Haynes gasped. You're still Terran citizens. We can negotiate. Ryan paused. Negotiate. Deke walked into frame, completely at ease, despite the gore. Cap. He wants to negotiate. Ryan dropped Haynes. The man crumpled like bureaucracy. Okay, let's negotiate. He turned to face the camera. You want terms? Fine. Every human you abandoned, every colony you listed as acceptable loss, every station, every team, every name you scrubbed from your black books, you're going to find them, extract them, and answer to them. That's dozens of sites, hundreds. The cost alone, not my problem. Ryan turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and Admiral? He looked back. The grin returned. Next time you want to abandon humans on a death world, make sure they stay dead. Lieutenant May Donovan stood in the cargo bay watching Warhowl prepare to leave. The void swimmers hovered outside, gentle leviathans ready to carry their bonded warriors home. You could come with us, Deke said, checking his gear one last time. Always room in the pack for someone with a spine. Tempting, May said. But someone's got to make sure Earth keeps its word. She held up the data packet. 1,000 lawsuits wrapped in truth and blood. Gonna be a fun few years. Ryan approached, helmet under one arm. Up close, May could see the truth carved into him, scars that didn't heal right, eyes that had stared too long into dying suns, a smile that promised violence and meant it. You're a good tourist, he said. Maybe there's hope for Earth after all. What about you? May asked. You could go home now. All of you could. Ryan glanced at his pack, 3 humans checking weapons, sharing a laugh, preparing to ride physics-violating monsters back to a moon that had tried to kill them every single day. We are home, he said. Con 6 is ours. We bled for it, died for it, became something new for it. Why would we leave? He turned to go, paused. But if Earth wants to visit, he grinned. Tell them to announce themselves first. Why? Because now we've got anti-ship devices. And Parkera knew Parker. Found her in a crashed colony ship. She's been dying to test them. The Warhowl pack departed the same way they came, tearing holes in space, riding the void like it owed them rent, howling war cries that shouldn't travel through vacuum but did anyway. May stood in the cargo bay, watching gravity forget what rules were. Then she turned to Urix. So, want to help me dismantle a corrupt government? Urix's skin rippled through 6 colors of internal conflict. Will there be paperwork? Mountains? Then yes. She straightened. Neural ports flared. The Galactic Coalition lives for paperwork. Far away, Con 6 spun on still the same death world. But it had made a critical mistake. It tried to kill humans. And in doing so, it taught them to become unkillable. Somewhere out there, carried on broken physics and radio ghosts, a howl echoed. On abandoned worlds, half-dead settlements stirred. The pack was calling, and Warhowl was just the beginning. 6 months later, the galaxy burned with questions. The documentary broke the extranet. Abandoned. The Warhowl files intended as evidence became the most watched media event in galactic history. 50 billion views in a single day. Comment sections that pushed server farms to the brink, that made Earth's government rethink every decision leading up to it. Through it all, Con 6 remained silent until today. Incoming transmission from Earth Defense Command, Urix said. Her office aboard the Coalition monitoring station shook with tension. It's Maga's final solution. May stopped breathing. Show me. General Morrison appeared, new face of Earth's restructured military. Cold eyes, smile like a scalpel. Citizens of the galaxy, he said. Like a man reading from a script soaked in blood, the terrorist cell known as Warhowl has rejected all peaceful resolution. They've bonded with xeno-organisms, become something inhuman. For the safety of all civilized worlds, we have no choice but to implement full planetary sterilization of Kiran 6. May's voice was low, furious. Bastards, they're flipping the script. The fleet will arrive in 72 hours, Morrison continued. Any vessels in system will be considered hostile. This is not a negotiation. This is pest control. The transmission ended. May stared at the screen, then opened the comdec had given her, the one that only worked during atmospheric chaos and screaming windstorms. Warhal, this is Donovan, you get all that? Static. Then Ryan's voice, calm as the end of the world. Yeah, we got it. 80 ships, Ryan. Dreadnoughts. Planet crackers. You need to evacuate. No, Ryan, be reasonable. You can't fight that kind of firepower with monsters and spite. Who said anything about fighting? That tone, the one May had learned meant something profoundly stupid was about to become legendary. Deke, tell her. Deke's voice cut in. Remember the fungus? We thought it was psychoactive. It's not. It's psychoconnective. 20 years of breathing it, eating it, bleeding into it. We're part of Con 6 now, all of us. May's heart slowed. So? Ryan came back on. Morrison wants to crack our planet. Fine. But maybe he should ask what happens when you piss off a sentient death world that's bonded with 53 humans who've spent 2 decades learning how to weaponize spite. The connection died. May stared at the comm. They're going to fight, she said, like she couldn't believe it. They're actually going to fight 80 warships with the planet. Is that possible? Yurix asked. Her skin was shifting into shades the Coalition classified as existential concern. With normal humans? May said. No. She pulled up every scan they had Con 6's atmosphere, its psychic ecosystem, the void swimmers curling like orbital sharks. With Warhowl, I honestly don't know. But I know one thing. She turned. I'm not letting them do it alone. T-minus 12 hours. The emergency session of the Galactic Coalition was already being recorded for future disaster documentaries. Earth has no right. The evidence is clear. Bioweapons are banned under Article 6. Enough. The voice didn't belong to any diplomat. Torvik stood, Arvik armor patched with human tech. Scars from Warhowl hospitality still visible. He'd seen the war coming, and now apparently he was done being polite. You want to sit here debating while warriors prepare to die? Fine. Torvich's voice was fire in a room of oxygen. The Avak freehold will stand with Warhowl. He looked around the chamber, daring them to object. Anyone who wants to join us, speak now. Everyone else, he spat on the floor, enjoy your paperwork. The Kranari Diplomatic Corps cannot officially, Yurix began. Unofficially? May asked. Yurix's neural ports pulsed once, twice. Unofficially, I've diverted 6 medical frigates to Con 6. Humanitarian observation only, of course. A pause. If those ships happen to be equipped with military-grade shields and electronic warfare suites, well, these things happen. They stood, one by one. Not all, not most, but enough. Enough to matter. T-minus 6 hours. Con 6 was singing. From the observation deck of the Coalition fleet, May watched the Death Moon pulse with bioluminescent patterns that weren't just beautiful, they were language. Weather patterns moved like commands. Storms wrote playbooks across the sky. The support fleet waited in orbit 37 ships, all shapes and scars. Torvik's mercenaries. Coalition science vessels. Even a Yang Collective cruiser, whose captain insisted they were only here to study human fungal neurological convergence. Warhowl, this is Coalition support fleet. May broadcast. We're here. What do you need? Silence. Then Ryan's voice, bent and strange, filtered through something that wasn't quite atmosphere anymore. Witnesses. A pause. When this is over, we want the galaxy to remember. Another beat. Also stay back. Call it 50 kilometers. Why 50 thou? Because Parker's not sure about the blast radius. Blast radius of what? Static. That sounded suspiciously like laughter. T-minus 0. The Earth fleet arrived like the wrath of a paranoid god. 80 ships, dreadnoughts, planet crackers, escort fighters, orbital artillery that could erase a civilization in 5 seconds and still have fuel for lunch. General Morris' voice hit all frequencies like a hammer wrapped in patriotism. Attention, terrorist cell Warhow. You have been judged irredeemably corrupted. Surrender now and your deaths will be. He never finished. Khan 6 moved. Not rotated, not tilted. It moved. The entire moon shifted position with a physics-defying lurch that made targeting computers scream in 16 languages. Formation broke. Ships collided. The void swimmers rose. Not dozens, thousands, rising from oceans and emerging from craters that shimmered with strange light. Each one carried something spores the size of shuttles, pods humming with energy stolen from forgotten suns, biological siege weapons that looked like someone fed mushrooms a diet of nightmares and gravity manipulation. At the front rode Ryan, no suit, no helmet, just a human riding a void predator the size of a freighter, breathing the vacuum like it owed him rent. The fungal symbiosis had evolved. Hyperoxygenated blood was old news. He breathed space and howled. The moon howled back. Fire, Morrison screamed. Fire everything. And they did. 80 warships unleashed annihilation, beams that sliced moons, missiles that shattered tectonic plates, kinetic strikes that rewrote geography. Con 6 ate it. Spores erupted mid-space, devouring energy and feeding on radiation like candy. Pods opened, unleashing creatures that folded light, rewrote mass, and danced through incoming fire like bored gods. And through it all, Warhowl rode. They hit the fleet like the revenge of every dead explorer Earth had ever lost. Deke's squad dropped onto a dreadnought using a void swimmer that tore holes in space for fun. Ryan's mount bit through the hull of the command ship and spit him onto the bridge. Morrison turned, pale as ash. What? You're just human. Just human, Ryan echoed. He grabbed Morrison by the throat, lifted him with one arm, eyes glowing with fungal bioluminescence and the kind of focus only vengeance grants. General, he said, let me explain something about humans. He dragged Morrison to the bridge window, showing him his fleet burning, breaking, howling. We're the species that looked at fire and thought, I can work with this. We saw wolves and said, let's hunt together. We took hostile worlds and made gardens, took predators and made pets. He leaned closer. You left us on a death world, and we didn't just survive. He whispered, soft as execution. We married it. Then he tossed Morrison aside like spent ammo and opened the ship-wide comms. This is Captain Ryan Royce, Terran Combat Command, Project Warhowl. His voice didn't just echo, it carved itself into the void, across the wreckage-strewn battlefield, across subspace relays, across every dark corner where an abandoned human still breathed. Day 7, 342. A pause. Final report. The flagship groaned. Something massive part fungal colony, part planetary nervous system wrapped its limbs around the ship like a god's closing fist. Project status. Complete. Ryan stood atop his void swimmer, silhouetted against the fire. We were sent to determine if Con 6 could be weaponized. He laughed untamed. Victorious. Mission redacted. Accomplished. The fungus flexed. The Earth flagship cracked like a shell in a giant's hand. Ryan rode the explosion out of the dying ship, whooping through vacuum like a kid who'd won the universe's most dangerous carnival game. 1 year later, the Earth Memorial was meant to be tasteful, solemn, a sanitized ceremony to close the book on the tragic misunderstanding known as the Warhowl Incident. Nobody invited Deke. He came anyway. A void swimmer materialized above the crowd, reality folding like origami in its wake. Security forces raised their weapons, then slowly lowered them because shooting it would accomplish about as much as yelling at a black hole. Is that a void swimmer? Someone shouted. Relax, Deke called. Descending in something vaguely resembling formal wear of formal wear, came with plasma scoring and a knife sheath. Just here for the drinks. He landed beside May, who was doing a heroic job of not laughing at the New Earth president's face. "You weren't invited. Story of my life." He handed her a flask. She took a sip and coughed. Whatever it was tasted like battery acid filtered through vengeance. "How's the rescue op?" 17 colonies recovered, May said. 32 more identified. Urix has a whole department now. She's producing enough paperwork to terraform a moon. Deke nodded toward the memorial statue. A clean, polished, wrong depiction of Warhowl. Sterile uniforms, sanitized expressions. "Ryan sends his regards." He grinned. "Also says, if they don't fix his jaw on that statue, he's coming to fix it himself." Is that a threat? More like a promise. You know how he is about historical accuracy. They stood in silence, watching Earth's elite pretend they hadn't tried to erase their own. "What's next for Warhowl?" May finally asked. Deke's grin returned, razor sharp and vacuum tested. "Same as always. Con 6 is ours. Now we're thinking bigger." He gestured to the sky, to the places beyond. "Turns out there's a lot of death worlds out there. Places the galaxy wrote off as impossible." He shrugged, and impossible is just galactic for try harder. "We're going exploring, finding the abandoned, teaching them to howl." His voice softened just for a second. "Parker thinks we can link them. A whole network of death worlds, connected by void swimmers and human stubbornness." A beat. "Earth kicked a lot of dogs over the years, left them to starve or go feral. We're building a new pack now, a bigger one. Is Izmit Maze? And this time, we choose who holds the leash. The Coalition won't like that. The Coalition can file a complaint." He mounted his void swimmer. The creature pulsed once, vibrating the air around it with alien resonance. Several nearby scientists quietly wept. "Besides, they need us now." He smirked. "Who else is going to explore the places sane people won't go?" He paused mid-climb. "Oh, May, next time you're in the neighborhood, swing by. Parker's working on this new fungal brew. Might give you psychic powers." A grin. "Not exactly risk-free." "That's not a selling point, eh? It is on Con 6. The void swimmer blinked out of existence, leaving behind ozone, unease, and the faint sound of distant howling. May turned back to the statue. They'd gotten everything wrong. The poses, the gear, the expressions, like a propaganda reel for sanitized heroism. Not the truth. The truth was jagged, raw, feral. They weren't icons. They were survivors. Humans pushed past, breaking who chose to break back. Maybe Earth needed that lie. But out in the dark, out where rules bent and physics begged for mercy, the real Warhowl still lived, on shattered moons and unclaimed worlds. In the hearts of the abandoned who'd learned to bite back, in the howl that crossed vacuum, because the laws of the universe were just another challenge. Somewhere a void swimmer was learning to sing. Somewhere else, Parker was probably breaking the speed of causality. And on Con 6, in a fortress built from salvaged ships and alien skeletons, Captain Ryan Royce still stood watch, scarred, smiling, unbroken, perfectly, terribly, beautifully human. The galaxy had learned something that year. You could abandon humans, you could strand them, you could leave them for dead on planets that devoured suns and screamed in their sleep, but you could never break them. Because humans don't just adapt, they thrive. And somewhere in the black, carried on frequencies that shouldn't exist, a sound echoed, a howl, a war cry, a countdown. The pack was growing, and Warhowl was just getting started.